Hi my loves, welcome back to my sketchbook. As always, we are just trying to keep up that regular drawing habit by seeing what we can do in our sketchbooks with an hour or less. So let me first off just say I did my best to correct the lighting in this video in editing, but it was a really stormy day and the light is in and out, so I do apologise for that. As I said last week, I'm not planning on sharing all of my Inktober process this year, but I thought I could at least share some of the other stuff that I'm up to. I probably will do 1 or 2 more Inktober videos, and there will of course be a sketchbook tour at the end. Also, I don't know if I've talked about this already. People have been asking whether or not I plan on making a zine out of the finished drawings like I did with my haunted houses 2 years ago, and I would love to, but I'm going to play it by ear for now, and I'm not going to have that as the end goal, so I can just kind of give myself room to create without the pressure of making a finished, polished product. So back to what I'm up to today. I decided I needed a little injection of paint and colour and less control. My Inktober pieces are much more planned, much more refined, which is something that I wanted to work on this month, putting time into really establishing a concept and doing initial sketches and trying to come up with something that's well-rounded and well thought out. And this sketchbook spread was the opposite of that. I was trying to take a break from that, time for me to just play, which is what this sketchbook is for. So I had a couple of references up of sea scenes, overhead shots of the sea, and I will have the references that I used linked below. But as with my recent cloud painting, I really just wanted to work loosely from that. So looking at what colours are in there and where they are, but not necessarily sticking to painting things as things. So the rocks don't have to be rocks, the same way that my clouds weren't the most convincing clouds. The goal here was to be a bit more expressive with my mark making. I really enjoyed using this chunky brush from Pan Art. It is a round pointed premium mop in a 12, and the smaller details were done with a number 6 round brush, also from Pan Art. I also whipped out the palette knife at one point just because I wanted to add some texture, and this felt like the perfect opportunity to experiment with a tool that I don't normally use in my paintings. I do tend to go for more of a controlled approach with my more quote-unquote abstract pieces, just because I find it hard really just to paint with no plan or direction. So if you're the same, I would recommend trying what I do and have a picture up to give you some sense of direction, but also only use it as a starting point and follow wherever the actual painting process takes you. If anything, it's a good excuse to play with colour, like if you've got a new load of paints and you want to see how they work together without investing time into a piece that is reliant on things turning out a certain way, you can really just test the relationship between the different colours and how they mix. So I'm using Arteza gouache here in my Moleskine sketchbook. As usual, it isn't a watercolour sketchbook, it is just the regular Moleskine, so yeah, the pages warp a little bit when they're wet, but I'm not bothered by that because this is just sketchbook stuff. I'm also using washi tape for my borders, and I'm pretty sure this one was sent to me by one of you guys, so thanks for that. But back to why I like doing these kinds of paintings every once in a while. It also forces you to look at balance in a piece, whether that's in tonal areas, creating contrast, or even areas with more or less detail. To have things all jumbled up and muddied would give the eyes nowhere to rest. So even if it looks like things are all over the place, you should constantly be stepping back and looking at the piece as a whole and really getting a sense of how it's presenting itself. Is it chaotic and directionless? Do you need to create a focal point? And if you do, how can you do that? Do you need more contrast in areas of light and dark? Is there too much detail, too much noise? I think anyone that says anyone could do that about abstract art probably hasn't tried it themselves, or at least not successfully. There is something extra intentional about paintings like these because, I don't know, you can't just rely on what people already know, what people can automatically accept as visually appealing, like a well-balanced landscape or a nicely lit portrait or a flower. You are creating visual appeal in different ways, which takes more thought, I think. Anyway, that should be enough for one day. I would love to know how everyone's Inktober is going and if you found time to do anything else. This took me about half an hour, so if you do want to loosen up a bit this month, I would definitely recommend doing something similar. And as I said, the references I used will be below if you want to have a go yourself. But otherwise, thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you soon for the next video. Bye.